The customer states the dealership really botched up this job and did a terrible job and made it worse. Let's find out what really happened to this poor LX450. Let's get started. This is a 1997 Lexus LX450, which is the Lexus version of a Land Cruiser. These are probably some of the best off-road vehicles you can buy on planet Earth. I don't know about Mars or Venus or those other planets, but I can speak for Earth.
Wizard, what did you do again?
Okay, I got that situation handled. I informed them that I didn't rob the bank. They thought it was me again. It wasn't me. So.
Really, how many bald men with red beards and green glasses are out there?
Not very many.
I wouldn't imagine.
I think only one.
I've seen a few others out there.
A few others, okay. Back to the Lexus. Again, this is one of the best, sturdiest, most reliable off-roaders on the planet. This has a very bulletproof engine. The drivetrain is bulletproof. And you could even get these with an option to lock the front differential, the rear differential, and the transfer case. It's called locking all three diffs. This thing would crawl up a hill and it would not slip. It was just like a tank. But let's take a look around this thing and then we'll dive into what did the dealership do and how Jared from the Questionable Garage came through and saved the day on this one. I really, really like the front ends on these LX450s. This era of Land Cruiser is really nice looking. It's not overstyled, but it's not understated either. It's very, very nice. This one's in good condition. As we go down the side, you can see that not only does the vehicle mean business, but these tires are serious off-roaders. These are the BF Goodrich All-Terrain KO2s. Very good off-road tires. Only 113,000 miles on this thing, and it shows. There's no dents, no serious rust. Very, very nice vehicle. I wouldn't mind having one, Mrs. Wizard.
Okay.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah, they're really cool. I actually like these. These would be, a great reliable car. I'm not going to get stranded in the back of, the Colorado mountains or, yeah.
All the cladding is there. So many of these 80s and 90s vehicles, this cladding that's on the side here is peeling off or coming off, but it's a Toyota product, and as such, it is in great shape. Here is our 4.5 liter 1FZ FE engine. Big inline six, 4.5 liter. It's really almost V8 size, but it's in an inline six configuration. Lots of low end torque. Very reliable. I talked to Jared and he said that they had very minor issues with these, but nothing serious. There's the cops again, Mrs. Wizard.
Well, maybe they're going after that other guy, or, maybe they're finding that other bearded, bald man.
Yeah, I already had a talk with them, so I don't need to go back out there. Let's let the cops go by. Luckily, they're not after me. This is not the engine you would think of, 1JZ, 2JZ, but it is very, very reliable, bulletproof. It doesn't have to rev very high to get lots of pulling torque, to get you up hills, up trails, all those different things. And it's not really hard to work on either. So why is it in here? It has an oil leak up front, pouring down the front of the engine. The customer just had it to the dealer to have that leak addressed. Afterwards, it's still leaking. They called the dealership and they admitted, oh yeah, one of our technicians pried somewhere that they shouldn't have, and it's possibly what's causing the oil leak. After this customer heard that, he said, I don't care if it voids my warranty. I'm not going back there. There's no way in hell. You're prying on something, you broke something supposedly, and no, I'm not bringing this back to you at all. In fact, I'm just going to take it to Omega and let the Wizards team take a look at it, see what's going on, and see what you guys broke. But before we dive in and reveal what we found, let's go ahead and let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around the interior.
113,572 miles. Look at that. It really, and it's going to present so well. It has so few miles. But the gauge cluster, very simple, very classic, very easy to read. As you move up Everything's in really good shape in this car. It is in fabulous shape for being in 97. I don't see any of the faux wood cracked. Our HVAC system is very simple, easy to use, lots of push buttons. They have modernized this a little bit and given it a Pioneer stereo. So I do appreciate that because that makes it a lot easier to listen to tunes. Got our ashtray. As you move down, you'll see we have our high, neutral, and low for our four-wheel drive, and it also just has a very simple gear selector as well. This does not have that locking differential that the Wizard did mention that was available on some models. So we move to our center console area. You'll see they have a speaker in the front. Nice little spot here where we can hide a few things, where they have some gloves, and we have another spot here where they have some air fresheners as well. And let me tell you, the car smells very nice. A lot of times cars of this era can start to smell a little funky. Seats are in really great shape, really no cracking. A little bit of the leather is starting to peel, but with this age, this car is in really good condition. Door card has a lot going on. We're used to seeing gray of today's cars, but now we have like a taupe, we have our faux wood, we've got some ivory leather, we've got some more taupe. So definitely can see some design in there that we don't see in today's cars. The back seat is in really good shape as well. It does have a 50-50 split with an armrest on each side to create that center seat. I don't think I would like to sit in that center seat. I feel like you're being, split in half. Headliner's in great shape. Got our moonroof as well with a cover that could be retracted, but does not. So we've made it back to the steering wheel, and this is where we're going to find the only thing that I have found that has a little bit of an error, other than maybe a little bit of the leather peeling, and that is the sunburned steering wheel. Yeah, but in reality, that's not terribly hard to fix. I mean, really, your hands are 90% of the time here and over here, so you're not touching that spot terribly often, and you could put a cover or something on it, or you could even replace it. But if you replace it, it's a bit of an issue because it also includes that airbag, so it could be a little pricey. But that's it. That's all there is to this. So obviously, the dealership didn't mess up anything in here. Let's get this on the lift and see what they screwed up.
Some cars are pretty easy to get on a lift. This one I definitely double and triple check because there's just 4 little points that make it easier to lift. You could use the frame, but I like to use the little suspension mounts, and everything's nice and placed very well. You can see right here, we're getting ready to clean this up. This is where a lot of our oil leak was. It's already been fixed. Junior Mint fixed it. He did a very good job. We just need to finish cleaning this, and this job is done. But look at this beefy front axle, guys. You can tell this thing is meant for off-road, and it has the swivel ball type axles here on where there's actually a little U-joint inside of there. So you don't have CV shafts on these years. Land Rovers had this style as well. It's kind of an old antiquated style, but it works very well. So these are kind of like control arms, or trailing arms is what they call them in the rear. Radius rod, there's different names for these, but this actually keeps the axle located from wobbling like this. It keeps everything nice and straight, and these things are beefy. You can see it locates here to keep this side of the axle from moving forward and back. It really keeps it strong. You can definitely tell this is no chintzy Kia or Hyundai. This thing means business. Let's check our brakes. They're about 70% remaining. They're still very good. There's a lot of little residue here from our oil leak that was up top. We have yet to clean that, but we'll be doing that next. Looks like we could use some sway bar bushings here. Oil has gotten to them and soaked them a little bit. Probably sprayed back from that leak that we had. Here's our front drive shaft. Everything looks good there. No looseness. Here's our transmission. Everything's dry there. Here's our beefy transfer case. Beefy. I don't know where even to knock on it. I'm scared to hurt my hand. Here's our dual cats. It has 2, one right behind the other. An exhaust. Nothing loose here on this drive shaft. And look at this axle, guys. Very, very heavy, heavy duty. Got our trailing arms here that keeps, again, the axles located fore and aft. Our sway bar rods there are nice. The bushings back here are nice as well. Let's check our brakes. Brakes are good. Shocks are good. Brakes are good there too. As you can see, everything is built very heavy duty on these. It's meant to be abused and beat on for days and days out in the middle of the Australian bush, as they call it, the outback, and not break on you and leave you stranded. Let's go ahead and check the date codes on these tires. They look fairly new, but you just never know. Let's take a look. So we did find the date code. It is the 42nd week of 2018. So they are about 6 years old almost. They're still good. They got some life left in them. I would be having no issues with continuing to run these tires. Let's get this thing on the ground. So we saw the oil leak underneath and the results of the issue that it has. But let's dive into the issue at hand. We know it's leaking oil. Well, it's not now, it's been fixed, but it was leaking oil, and the customer states the dealership pried somewhere they shouldn't have and maybe made the situation worse. So I'm focusing on those issues. Let me show you the area we're talking about. Right around the main pulley is where the dealership was focused. They said it had a front main seal leaking, and they did actually replace that seal. And what it sounds like to me is they pried off the harmonic balancer with a pry bar when you should have used a special tool, which we have. But it came back in that area to the right, where it has all those little Phillips screws right there to the right of the harmonic balancer. Right where I'm pointing was completely coated in oil. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they could have cracked the timing cover. They could have, I don't know what they did. They got in there with big pry bars and hammers and who knows. This is a Toyota dealership working on a Toyota product. It's just mind-boggling. It's getting sad anywhere in the country, really in the world anymore, but definitely in the country, where you go to dealerships, Porsche dealership, BMW, Ford, Dodge, it doesn't matter the brand. We're just not getting the service we used to anymore. And you're having to resort to going to a shop like Omega to finally get it solved. Before I dived in and start tearing stuff apart, see what they broke, I actually contacted Jared from the questionable garage because he was a Toyota master technician. He was a guru at Toyotas. I said, hey man, here's what's going on. We got oil in this area. Supposedly they might have pried on something and broke something. And Jared said, forget all that. It's none of that. He said, I guarantee you they didn't break anything. Number two, it was never the front main seal to begin with. I don't even know why they replaced it. Technicians frequently go to the front main seal, and it is never the front main seal on these 1FC engines. He said, it is the oil pump O-ring seal. He said, $10 says that's where your problem is at. So I had Junior Mint remove the radiator and everything, and so we get our special tool in there. I always like to remove radiators. I'd rather remove it than to have it get damaged and have to buy one. So we could fit our tool, properly pull off the harmonic balancer, and we saw that it did have a new front main seal on it, but it was dry. It wasn't even leaking there, and it never was leaking there according to Jared. Junior Mint removed the plate that's over the oil pump, which is right next to the harmonic balancer on the timing cover. And the old seal, which should have been round like an O-ring, as you can see, is flat like a pancake. It wasn't sealing anything. Here's a kind of a close-up of it. Part of it broke off, but that's basically, you get the gist of what's going on there. And sure enough, when we removed that cover, we could tell oil was coming out all over around that cover. Junior Mint cleaned it up, put the new seal and gasket on, put it back together, and we've road tested it 4 times already, and it comes back dry, except for the residual oil, which he'll be cleaning here soon. We're getting ready to do the final cleanup on it. Front main seals can be a common issue on multiple makes and models of cars, but not necessarily on these. Jared tells me it's really not an issue on the 1FC engines, and like he mentioned, it's always the oil pump gasket seal. It's like a giant O-ring shaped for the plate groove that's around there. So replace the front main seal that wasn't necessary. Supposedly, apparently, pried somewhere they shouldn't have. We never found any damage. Jared believes there wasn't any damage. That was just their way of trying to get out of it. They didn't want to mess with it anymore. They wanted it out of their shop. This is old. They don't want old dogs in their shop. They want all new, fancy, new Toyota stuff. I love working on these. I love these vehicles. They're really, really heavy duty. We finally got that replaced, problem solved. From the very get-go, if they would have originally just taken care of this vehicle wouldn't be here. It would have been solved. So what's really bugging me about this situation wasn't even the fact that it was misdiagnosed or supposedly broken, is that this happened at a dealership. It's their brand. It's what they sold years ago. They continue to sell Land Cruisers. They should have a database, like I use Identifix. They should have a database of all Toyota models showing common issues on this, common issues on that. Here's the fix for this. Here's the fix for that. How is it they don't have that, and they don't have the tool, which is just a universal harmonic balancer puller, to remove the balancer? They used a pry bar. I don't even know how they got it off. It was on there pretty tight. You can damage a harmonic balancer or the timing cover by doing that. Why are they doing that at a Toyota dealership? I don't know. But it's just really disheartening. I told the customer, I was like, we'll get to the bottom of it. And I said, this really sucks. I said, we're seeing a lot of this anymore. And there's no certain brand that's better than the others as far as dealership diagnosis or dealing with the service department. It seems they're all doing this anymore. It could have been a new technician, wasn't too sure what they were doing. But where's their supervisor? Where's their mentor? The person who's a foreman of the shop? They could have inspected their work or said, oh, no, it's not this, it's actually that. I know from experience it's these or that. But that's the thing. The younger people that are in dealerships today, they don't have the knowledge of yesteryear's cars because they weren't there. Some of them weren't even born there, bro. They weren't even alive. So now you throw this at them and they're like, I don't know. But any person who's worked on Toyota, Lexus products for the past 20 years was very understanding of this stuff. I kind of thought that oil leak was coming from the oil pump plate, but I definitely was glad I contacted Jared with the Questionable Garage because he immediately was able to divide and conquer. That's kind of what we do here. He's like, nope, it's not this. I guarantee you it is this. And boom, it absolutely was. So if you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on this nice Lexus or any other car that's in the background, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. If you purchase anything there, we get a small cut and we really appreciate it. A lot of the tools we use in the shop are listed for sale there. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.